All right. Bear with me, you all. But yes, again, I want to thank everybody for coming to join us on Mental Health Mondays. And so let's get started. So, ooh, how do I make this big? Let me see. Change the start from, I guess, let me do it like this, see if it works. Yes, it does. Okay.
Sorry.
Good afternoon. Okay, so for our Mental Health Mondays, we'll just quickly go over our program outline. We start with our introductions, which is your name, give us your preferred pronouns, and your school, whatever grade you're in, if you are in school. And then we're going to go over our guidelines and procedures. We're going to go then into our icebreaker and then our open discussion. So I can't see everybody. And that's okay. But so I'm going to start off. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miss Jasmine. My preferred pronouns is she, her, and queen. And I am a master's student in college. And I am going to, let me see if I can cheat real quick. Miss Early, I think, if I'm saying that correct. Okay.
It's like the word early.
Yes.
My name is Early Vital. My preferred pronouns are they, them, or her. Right now I'm working on my associate's degree since I just newly transferred into college, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and I thank you for being here. Can you choose somebody, choose the next person?
Markea.
Okay. Hello. So my name is Markea Bellador. My gender pronouns is she, her, hers. And I'm not really like working on nothing. I've just been practicing and stuff. I didn't graduate yet, so I'm working towards graduating.
And that's good. And we thank you for being here. Can you choose the next person?
Jayla.
Hi, hello, my name is Jayla. My pronouns is her, and I graduated in June, and now I am a teacher for adults that have disability. So I do training with them, and I'll pass it on to Dante.
Hi, my name is Dante. My pronouns is he, him. I graduated this year. What I'm working on right now, I work right now, but as I'm working on my model and acting career. So behind the scenes, I'm just doing different things to get those up and running. Um, and I call I don't know who you go. So who may go? You can go.
I will go. My name is Sanaya, and I am a senior in high school. And my plan is, it's an either or plan. So I plan to go to HCC for community college and then transfer to FAMU, or just go straight into FAMU and study and social work. And whoever did not go can just go, because I'm not sure who didn't go yet.
Hello, I'm Simone. My pronouns are they, them, her, hers, and I am in the 11th grade, and I've currently haven't really been doing much, but I've definitely been joining different clubs such as Just Buddies, work with the younger kids. There's DECA, Close Up, BSU, Black Students Union, and then Glow. Yeah, I'm working on different things, especially within the school, working on the IT drama and also band as well. And I pass it to Miss Ruth.
Hi everyone. Oh my gosh, it's so good to hear you all's voice. and see you all. This is Ruth. I am doing good. I'm no longer in school. My pronouns are she, her, and queen. I have a 8th grader and a 3rd grader and then a newborn. So those are my school age children, and the newborn, I don't foresee him going to school anytime soon because he's so young. Maybe when he walks and talks and he can speak for himself, that's when I imagine him going to school. And I'll whoever. Oh, Penelope.
Penelope put it in the chat.
Okay, I'm Penelope. I'm still at work. I work as a title processor for real estate, and my dream is to have my own design business. Nice. Congratulations. Y'all are growing up so fast. And I'll pass it. I guess I could pass it to Michaela.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I graduated 2 years ago. I am doing online classes at the moment for game programming and animations. Right now I am working as a babysitter because I'm broke. I guess that's it. Whoever didn't go can go.
Joey, you can go.
Okay, so I'm Miss Joey. My pronouns are she, her, and Auntie Joey and Queen. And I'm so glad to see all you come. And just wanted to tell you that this is our 2nd class, and I'm glad to have invited you all. For you all that didn't know, that this Mental Health Mondays is a partnership when we had a bit of funding, and we were going to stipend the youth who continues to participate. We have Miss Akins online. That's one of our partners that we're going to be doing community collaboration and with a Better Me. And that we'll be doing community cleanups, and she'll be doing some of her curriculum. And we have Derek, Mr. Derek, and our board chair Ruth, Sister Ruth, and Fam Saj, and all you great people, and Jasmine, who is the visionary behind this project. I have to say it. And I want to thank you all for coming, okay? And we're recording this. For those that don't want to be recorded, just let us know. But we're recording this so the need of why we need Mental Health Mondays to reach more. And if you can, the next time, invite others. Okay, and I'm complete. And glad for you, Jayla and Michaela. And after me will be Miss Akins, if she's able to speak.
Hello, everyone. My background is kind of loud. I'm Miss Akins, and I'm an educator and also the founder of A Better Me and Community Collaboration Exchange. I am happy to be here. Thank you all.
All right, everyone. I just want to make sure that all of our guests all of our participants have been able to introduce themselves, that we didn't miss anybody that wanted to introduce themselves. Did we get everyone? I hope so. Okay, I'm gonna go forward because I can't see you. And so I'm really relying on you guys to be participant and speak because I really can't see. Moving forward. So our RJ principles are speak, and these are the guidelines and the rules that we abide by for Mental Health Mondays. Miss Ruth gave us these rules and these principles, and they work beautifully with what we're trying to do here with Mental Health Mondays. And it's speak from the heart, listen from the heart, listen with respect, speak with respect, respect the talking piece, confidentiality, and what is ever said in the circle stays in the circle, and that we be present for each and every one of us. All right. And so for our icebreaker for this evening, I want to find out, what did you do as a self-check-in for this past week? Last week, we talked about mindfulness and what mindfulness is to each and every one of us. And basically we kind of talked about attunement and how it requires us to take a stop with no judgment and kind of acknowledge our feelings and our thoughts and the sensations of our minds and our bodies. And so that's our icebreaker for this session is, what did you do as a self check-in this past week? Now, I hope you kind of remember who you came behind when we did our introductions, because that's how we do our speaking circle. We follow that flow, and that's our way of ensuring that everybody gets their opportunity to speak. Some of you I could barely hear. So if you can speak a little bit louder and clearer, and those that can't actually talk, please throw whatever you need to in the chat. We'll have everybody's going to be checking the chat so that nobody gets skipped. And so I'm going to go ahead and start us off. What I did this past week as a check-in was actually I sat in silence after I did my meditation, because normally my meditation is like a prayer and then I read a devotion. But after my meditation, I actually did a stop and I just kind of like silently kind of thought over what I had did the previous day and kind of like how it made me feel. And I just kind of sat in silence as I kind of see if I could revisit any of those feelings. And if I did, what that meant for me. So that's kind of how I did my check-in. And then whoever came up after me, which I think was Miss Early.
Yes, thank you. For my self check this week, I have been diving into my more artistic abilities. I've been doing body studies and animation and touching my toes into the industry and hoping to be able to earn more money. And what it's shown me with myself is that I've always pictured myself only being able to do one talent, like only one thing, and you can't go any farther with it. But I've proven to myself that I can go farther. I just need to put the time and the effort into it. So my self check was not limiting myself to what I can only see that I'm doing right now. So that was my own little self check, and I surprised myself.
Thank
you.
Who's after Miss Early?
Should I choose someone?
Yes, because I don't remember who was after you.
Oh, it was
who you chose last time.
It was Markea.
Okay. Miss Marquez, are you there with us?
Marquez said that she was gonna be back.
Okay. Well, who was after Miss Marquez? We will always circle back to her.
If not mistaken, was it Dante?
Dante, are you with us?
No, I was before Jenna was before me. She had called me after.
Oh, okay.
I don't see Jayla in the call.
Okay. We might have lost her.
You want me to go?
Yes, go ahead, please, Dante.
As to check out what I do, I listen to music. I would read, and I would just like do things that I know that makes me happy. You get me?
Yes, I do. Thank you. And who's after you, Dante?
I don't even know.
Well, how about the next person that wished to share can go next?
I'd go.
Okay.
So something I
did for my self-check, which I probably do almost every day, is take some breathers and listen to music. So like really get in tune with the songs, just vibe out. That's mainly what I do almost every other day. But sometimes I just don't breathe. I'm just like listening to music. But this time I'm actually focused on my breathing and listening to the music and paying close attention to the different beats that are happening and reflecting. And I pass it on to Sanaya.
Okay, thank you. Something I did as a self-check was wash my hair. With this, I don't know if this is weird to anyone or if anyone could relate, but like, if I don't take care of my hair, then I myself start to feel like down. So after I wash my hair, I felt really better. Like when I take care of my hair and wash it and oil it, it makes me feel better. Something else I did was do a little shopping with my mom. We never had time to just go in the store by ourselves because I have so many little siblings. So we got to like run it also really quick and it was so fun. So that made me feel good. Um, let's see. Sorry if I sound a little stuffed as well. Allergies. I pick uh, Mrs. Ruth, what did you do? As self-check this past week?
Thank you, Sanaya. I started to journal back again. And that has felt really good. Like I don't know about you all, but I wake up a lot during the day, during the nighttime. Whenever Marvell wakes up, I wake up. But then sometimes even if he's up like asleep, I still wake up. And so I've been able to use that time as like, instead of like checking my phone when I wake up in the middle of the night, I think I still check my phone, but then my mind will be like, no, you have to put the phone down and write. So then I'll write. So I'm listening to my Ori in that way. And I definitely agree with you that said that particularly with your like washing of your head, because in the Yoruba culture, the West African culture, your Ori, which is your inner head, is, God bless you, baby, is really important. Is like probably the most important aspect of a human being. And so when you wash your head, then you're able to kind of like cleanse yourself. It's like a natural cleanse. And so the more often that we do that, the more often that we can have clarity. So I appreciated you for naming that. And I'll pass it to Tawana. Mrs. Akins. Okay, if not Tawana, maybe Joey.
If you can, could you read? I can't, like I said, I can't see if Penelope put something in the chat to share.
Penelope put, I haven't been having any self-checks.
And thank you, Ms. Ruth. Auntie Joey, do you want to chime in?
Yes. What I did before I was real gentle with myself, and I took a break, and then when I wanted to go and participate in something, I did, and I was just relaxing some, because my heart was beating fast, and so I just thought that relaxation and doing things that I love, that my body told me I can be around, and that's what I did. And I think after me, Penelope, not looking at Michaela, but I called her Penelope.
Self-checks. I've just been listening to music, but due to my ADHD, I don't know if anybody else can relate. I clean like a lot. Like it actually upsets me because when my ADHD starts acting up and I just see something that doesn't look right or that isn't centered, I go insane. So I clean everything. I usually mean like clean or straighten out one thing, but then that leads to the whole house. So it's therapeutic. I thoroughly enjoy mopping and stuff, but yeah. I don't know who's after me. I think Miss um Tawana was after me, I believe.
It's one, if you're unable, because I know you said you had a lot going on in the background, you please feel free to drop it down in the chat with chat for us. I think that's everybody. We're gonna just keep on moving forward. And so that leads us into our first discussion question. And so the reason I talked about check-ins was because we deal with a lot of stress on a day-to-day basis. We deal with a lot of stress. And so stress is one of the lead causes of illness and death. Stress can and will kill you if you don't get a handle on it. And so how we handle our stress determines how our mental and physical health will be impacted. And so the first discussion question is, how do you handle the stress of situations as they happen? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, and for time's sake, I'm just going to go ahead first and jump right on in. The way I handle stress really honestly is I do two things. I talk to myself. I hope I'm not the only one that does that. I talk to myself and I do a lot of deep breathing. I talk to myself to kind of talk myself down, and then I do a lot of deep breathing to center myself. So, and after me, Miss Early, take it away.
Thank you. One thing I do to handle stress is if I know that I'm about to blow, what I usually do is I either draw my stress away. Sorry, my siblings are in the background. I either draw my stress away or I like to walk. So if I'm really feeling really stressful, I go outside and I walk. There's usually like a park from 10 to 15 minutes away. I go over there, I chill, like calm down, and then I walk back. Or I just walk a circle around the neighborhood, and it makes me feel better.
Awesome. Thank you. And who was after you? I think it was Michaela, not Michaela. I'm gonna get these names.
You're mute, Miss Jasmine.
Okay, go for me, because I think I lost the next person. That's what it was.
What I do is I listen to music. So that's what I do. The next person can go.
When I'm stressed or anything, I like to sit. I like to sit alone and just like reflect on the actions. If not, listen to music or just go outside and get some breezes in my face. You know, just to like calm down the stress a little bit. If it's like overwhelming, I'd probably let out a good few tears or so, just to get that emotion out, so we could like start like thinking of other things rather than let the stress overbear us. Because once you get a little cry out the way, you feel better.
Definitely. Thank you.
I can go next. What I do when I feel stressed is take a deep breath and kind of just think to myself, like, it could be worse, or sometimes it's not so much to put your energy to, like put negative energy to. So I just really just take a deep breath and just calm myself down by like talking to myself in my head or something like that. And then listen to music as well. That helps. And dancing. If I'm in my room, dancing in the mirror helps me feel better as well. So the next person can go.
I could go next. So when I'm feeling stressed, I lay down. Like I literally just close my eyes and I lay down. Especially if it's like during the day and there's like something that I'm like holding or something that is feeling like really stressful. It doesn't mean that I fall asleep, but I just rest my eyes. I found that to be really helpful. I also do this this activity that I learned through Miss Regina, where it's like basically utilizing your finger points to touch like your thumb, like have your thumb touch your index finger, have your thumb touch your middle finger, your ring finger, and then your pinky, and then do that as a way to, it's called PQ reps, as a way to re-regulate your mind and your body and your spirit. And so I found that to be really helpful because it's kind of like, it's a distraction, but it's also like a way for my body to say, oh, like I'm still here. Even if I'm stressed, I can still regulate my body, or I can react differently, and I have a choice I can choose to do something different. And so those are some things that I've implemented when I feel stressed.
Thank you. Can you read for me Penelope's input, if it's in the chat for us?
Penelope? No, I haven't. She hasn't put anything in. Penelope.
Okay. I thought I let Jazz in. Jazz, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Okay, you want to jump right on in, kind of tell us what do you do to handle any type of stress that have any situations that come up?
I would listen to music or like do something productive, like clean my room or play piano or something. Or do the finger things that my mom, she just taught me that like a couple of weeks ago. The finger points. Yeah.
That's cool. Thank you. Auntie Joey?
Yeah, what I do is I'll sit in quiet or listen to music, like certain songs are inspiring, or listen to something motivational, or light a candle, with those good fragrance that Kamani and make, those help out. And I'll pass it to Michaela.
To tell the truth, I do two things when I'm stressed. One, I completely KO, I completely fall asleep, literally. That's why like my mom would be mad at me too. She's like, I called you about 8 times. I'm like, Mom, I'm asleep. The other thing is I like to burn pieces of paper. That really helps with my stress. That's it, Ms. Tawana.
Miss Tawana, you with us, or did you write it down in the chat? Somebody check the chat for me. I can't see it. Okay, so I think we noticed that each of us, as different as we all are, I think we've noticed that we all have similar ways of kind of dealing with stress, whether it be deep breathing, whether it be just taking a minute to step away from the situation and walk it out, listening to music, shutting our bodies down and just getting some rest, letting that kind of like get like relaxing ourselves. Distracting our mind with doing kind of like thoughtless activities like the fingertip touching. We all have our ways of dealing with stress, and it's very, very important for our mental health. It's very important for our mental health. Self-soothing, because these are ways that we self-soothe. And so self-soothing is a tactic that we learn during infancy. So that's something that we develop as babies, to learn to self-soothe. And studies have shown that individuals that don't develop this skill early on in life have a very hard time emotionally regulating as adults. People that are very, very quick to anger, adults that suffer tantrums, that get into a lot of verbal and physical altercations. These are signs of not having developed, or not being able to self-soothe as children or as babies. And so this, however, does not mean that it's too late to learn, because we can always learn. We all can learn to self-soothe. We can all learn self-soothing skills and tools to aid with stressors in life. So remember, I want everybody to take this time to remember back to a memory when you had a hard time calming down. What was and find out what was difficult about that moment, and then what helped you feel better. Okay, so again, think back to a time where you were very upset or very stressed, and you had a hard time self-regulating, coming down off that anger. What was difficult about that moment? What was difficult about coming down from that high? And then what made you feel better? So I'm gonna go first. I think thinking back to a moment that I was like very upset, and what was difficult for me was that the fact that I kept thinking about, they don't understand me, like they don't get me, they're not listening to what I'm saying. And so it made coming down from being mad very, very hard for me. And I think the thing that kind of like helped me calm down was that kind of understanding that everybody's not going to get you, everybody's not going to see things from your way. Everybody's not going to hear you when you speak and this and the other. So I was like, okay, talking to a brick wall right now, so let me walk away from it. So that's kind of that. It was hard, it was difficult, but it helped. And I'm gonna pass that right on to Ms. Early.
Thank you. I would also like to agree. It is like talking to a wall, and you get yourself so heated trying to get your point across to the person. They make it seem like you're the person that's being difficult. For me, going back to a time where it wasn't in my favor. I think I kind of developed. It's not quite healthy, but I'm getting better at it. But what I do is that if I understand no one, like the person isn't listening to my resolve, and they're not being able to listen to my reasons, I get quiet. I quiet down and I just listen to them talk. Because if you don't talk to them, they realize that they're yelling at someone who's not responding, and they'll calm down. And when they do calm down, that's when I start talking again, so I can get my point across.
I like it. Thank you. I think Dante, I think we had you next. Are you with us, Dante? That's okay. We can keep on going.
When I got into an argument with somebody in school and I just felt disrespected. At the time, I just wanted to beat that person up, but I realized that I had too much to lose, so that's why I didn't do nothing.
Thank you. I think it was Miss Kimani. You were next.
Yeah. So when I had a hard time calming down, probably is with my brothers. Those are the main. It's more so like family that always get me in that angry state of mind, and it's like kind of hard. What helps me, what was difficult at the moment was just like trying to express how I feel, because like you don't want to, sometimes I do lash out and tend to like get very mean and start like raising my voice, but that's only because somebody else's voice was raised at me first, and I can't really like do anything about like payback or anything, but like I'll sit there and just like listen, because when I wouldn't necessarily say listen, but I'll just like ignore it as if like you're talking and yelling at me and so on and so forth. I'll just sit there, and then when they're finally done, I'll be like, okay. Or like if it's really something, I might like yell back, but 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna just like sit there and let you talk. Clearly you probably was having a bad day and needs just something to, just to say some stuff. So I just don't mind. Just like leave me alone afterwards. Don't like continuously keep coming to me and bothering me. But it definitely be kind of hard, especially with the brothers, like breaking my charger every other day. And I specifically told him not to touch my charger. And yet he's still touching my charger. And I'm just like, hey, yo, then I just tell you not to touch my charger. That just gets me frustrated. It's more so frustrated moments. Or people not minding their business at school. That's not too much a problem though. And what helped me feel better is just probably ignoring it. Ignoring it definitely makes me feel better. Pop in my earbuds and just lay down. And I pass it on.
I can go next. A time or times where I do have a hard time just calming down is when I get into interactions with my brother and sisters, or when me and my mom are not on the same page about something. That is really hard to calm down, because especially with my mother and I, because she's the adult, so your parent takes more what you say more seriously and stuff like that, and it's hard saying how you feel sometimes, especially two different generations and whatnot. It's just more difficult. So when we're not seeing eye to eye, it makes me very frustrated, because we think different because we're two different people. So that's one thing that makes me frustrated sometimes. But what I do to like calm down is just understand where she's coming from, and then usually we're fine again. So it's normal, little teenager and mother arguments, but that's just one thing that I have hard times calming down with sometimes. And I pass it on to whoever has not went yet.
Ms. Ruth, I think it was after you. I think it's you next.
Yeah. So one time this has actually happened a lot the last couple of weeks, where I was on a call. It's like a group meeting, and these are adults. Like I'm an adult, right? I was in a group call, and when we make a group decision, and then the one or two people say, actually, no, we're gonna do XYZ. I think that's when I get the most like upset, because it's kind of like there's a group decision, there was a decision that's made, and then one person or two people are going against the group decision. And so I have to so then that gets me really hot, because I'm like, okay, now we're out of order. Now it's like either you're lying or we're out of order. And those are the two things that I'm like, we have to like refresh our memory to be like, actually, this is the decision that we made. And so the way that I regulate myself is I close my eyes and I breathe. And then I literally I slow down. I slow down, and I in that situation, I had to be like, all right, now this is what we did. This is the decision that we made. And then I ask, why are you changing it? Why are you trying to change it? And I find that sometimes I get really upset and I'm mad about something that people, they literally either they just forgot or they really wanted to redirect. But either way, me slowing down has helped the last couple of times for people to be like, ah, you're right. We did make this decision. This is actually how it's supposed to be, instead of trying to recreate or do something against the group. So now, for me, at the beginning, what gets me really upset is because I'm thinking in my mind, like, this person is really trying to change everything that we just worked on. And that gets me really mad and really heated. But then I have to have compassion that some people, maybe they don't want to derail it, instead of me like assuming that, or like thinking that I'm just gonna assume that they forgot and give them the benefit of the doubt. That has helped me to like regulate and like go back to self. And I'm complete. I'll pass.
Thank you. I love it. Jazz?
So I agree on the siblings one, like they just don't listen. And another thing is probably like when I can't find something like my glasses, or like if things are not balanced or organized. I think that's like very annoying. Like if it's like a person, who's just thinks they're funny or something, I honestly just tell myself that's how they're raised and I can't do anything about it. And yeah, just ignore the person. Yeah.
Thank you. Miss Joey.
Oh, child, I had come to Jesus moment. So I think what makes me mad is when somebody is like disrespectful and and when they don't respect me. I guess you know what, when you get older, y'all, let me tell you this. These people got all kind of philosophies in life about you being an inner child when you was a child and you got unresolved issues. So it's very important that you take care of your mental health at this point, because when I look back on a picture by that same lady, Miss Regina, I was on this picture one time, and the dog, we had a picture with me and my big sister, and the dog, she was like petting the dog, and I wasn't. I was frowned up like this, like I was out, And I said, wait a minute. And they brought it to my attention. And so I believe that's how I solve problems. If I'm like excluded or not respected, that makes me mad. But what I have to do to calm down is I think about the good things that happen to me and the people that do respect me. And I put that in replacement so I don't get too mad and impulsive. And so, I may take a walk, or I may swallow, my spit or something, or try to drink something, or like I'm doing something to not pay attention. And I'm not sure that avoiding it is not a good idea, but I try to, show mercy on them and not take it too personal, and just worry about what I can do to help myself to feel better at that moment. And I'm complete. Michaela.
I've never really had Joshua. Have you had? Yeah. Joshua, have you had? Because I haven't had any of those moments. I'm in Mental Health Mondays right now. Have you had any moments where you've been so upset? Wait, what's the question again? I'm sorry. One more time.
It was when if you ever had a hard time, if you've been so upset that you really struggled, had a hard time coming down from being upset, and what was difficult about calming down, and then what made you feel better about it.
Yeah, I've had a difficult moment like that before. And most of the time what I do is I either smoke a cigarette to calm down, I smoke, or I play the game or something. But I was like when I was mad at your sister, when I was mad at Dee Dee, I went and knocked on her door. She lucky she did not answer.
I'm gonna need you to not. I'm gonna need you to not, please.
So yeah, she almost got punched.
Next person, please.
I think I let Penelope back in. Penelope, if you're unable to speak,
Okay. That's
definitely throw it down in the chat. And there was another individual, a iPhone.
I'm all right.
Please go ahead and you can jump right in, introduce yourself. Give us your name, your preferred pronouns, and then you can go ahead and answer the prompt question.
The name and preferred pronoun?
Yeah.
My name is Josh Shell. Everyone calls me Georgia. I'm a female. I go as she.
I love you. And what was the first question, Miss Jasmine?
It was the question about the having a hard time calming down from a memory of time of being upset, and then what was difficult about calming down, and then what did you do to what helped you help you feel better?
I usually cry. Crying is a healthy way to let it out than to go smoke or punch someone. So I usually cry. If I'm feeling really, really down, I'll just go in my room and curl up in a ball and cry.
All right, I think that, and check the chat for me, Miss Ruth and Miss Joey, just to make sure I didn't miss anybody.
You have the iPhone and you have Penelope.
Penelope hasn't put anything in the chat yet.
Okay. I'm gonna keep on going for time's sake. I'm gonna keep on going. Okay, so next we're gonna talk about perspective, because all of this, what we've been talking about, really has a lot to do with perspective. And I loved what everybody was talking about earlier about what made them upset, why it was difficult to calm down, and then kind of what made them feel better. And for me, from what I kind of surmised out of what everybody was saying, or kind of gleaned from what everybody was saying, is that, and I hope I'm getting this correct, but I felt like everybody was hinting on, I didn't like having a part of my power stripped away from me. And so we all did different things to kind of re-regulate from having that, from kind of feeling that, whether it was, feeling, being disrespected, not heard, or being yelled at, having that sense of autonomy or power kind of taken, and then kind of having to sit there and it's like, what can I do? And this all plays into perspective, my view versus their view. And so what is perspective? So by definition, there's a couple of definitions out there when it comes to perspective. One definition is a particular attitude towards or way of regarding something, a point of view. And so and the second definition for all of my artists out there that draw, it's an art technique. When we talk about perspective, it's the art of drawing solid objects on a two-dimensional surface, be it a paper or whatever, as to give the right impression of their height, width, depth, and position in relation to each other when viewed from a particular point. And so this is very much similar to our thought processes, which is basically our perspective. And so we look at things from a certain viewpoint. And because we're viewing things from a certain viewpoint, it skewers how we see things. So the way we're looking at a situation, so we can have the same exact picture, but because I'm looking at it from this way, or looking at it from this viewpoint, and you're looking at it from another viewpoint, we may not be viewing the same picture the same way. And so in social work or in clinical practice, we have these things called schemas. And so your schema or your viewpoint is something that is gradually built upon or developed based on the things that you go through. And so if you've been through this, or if you've been through that, or you grew up one way, or you grew up this way, or you've learned to handle things in one way versus another, these things kind of develop your schema, and you start to look at the world and look at people and look at situations through that lens. It's like your own little warped own little specialized sunglasses or visors, and your schema now, and you're seeing the world through these special lens, and it's individualized because we're all different. And so knowing and understanding that the way we view something is completely different from the way somebody is viewing something else, and having that understanding and that compassion and that self-regulating, so that we're not triggered in a negative way because of the way somebody views something, because it's different from our own, and how people handle things because it's different from our own. Okay. So that's going to lead us to our last discussion question, and is, how has flexibility through your perspective influenced the way you communicate with others? Again, that question is, how has the flexibility of your perspective influenced the way you communicate with others? And I'm gonna start off. It allows me, the flexibility in my perspective has allowed me to communicate with others in a very open sense. I'm able to, I think one of you kind of said it, I forgot who it was, I don't know if Miss Early or Miss Kamani said, I stop and I just listen. I take in what you're saying so that when I respond, I can respond appropriately and effectively and efficiently. So I'm not just reactively responding, but I'm saying things that I think would better the situation. And that's how that kind of like that, having flexibility in my perspective. And I think it helped me develop my sense of empathy for others. So that's what helped for me. And Miss Early, you're next.
Oh, yes. For me, actually, the reason I don't say anything to people when they are like speaking over me and taking over my property is that I actually have a problem with flexibility. See, with the way that I speak, I have flexibility in which I'm able to see the perspective of others easily because I do listen, and I'm able to understand people. But that's where my flexibility stops, because I'm very rigid of what I believe in and what I don't believe in. So I'll take in all your words and I'll snap them right back at you. Which means if someone's telling me this, and that, I'll regurgitate this, and that with my own. And it has caused problems because if someone does have a different perspective than me, I'll understand their perspective and flip it on them to be mine. And I have to understand that people have their own. And even though I understand I can't change your perspective, I'll always give you evidence and other things to show you to broaden your own. But I need to broaden mine, so I don't know what I'm saying. Thank you.
No, thank you. Dante, I think you were next.
The same thing you had said, Miss Jasmine, I agree with it. Let's go.
I can go. How has the flexibility your perspective influenced the way you communicate? Well, I feel like the way my perspective on others influenced the way I communicate is because I kind of give everyone the benefit of the doubt. This can be bad and good, but like when I talk to someone, I kind of like, I don't know if this is like weird or not, but like scan them in my own way, and I can usually tell if they're genuine or not. So my perspective comes from what they show me. And yes, that's how I would like to explain that. Mrs. Booth can go next.
How has the flexibility, your perspective influenced the way you can make it? Maybe I'm trying to figure out how to answer this, or I'm trying to understand the question, but maybe the way that I can answer it is like, I think the value of humility is probably the way that I stay flexible in my perspective, is because sometimes, like with humility for me, like sometimes I'll experience something. And because of my experiences, it's taught me that I actually don't know. Like I actually think I know, but I don't know. Like I may be in a situation where I'm like, oh, I know this is gonna go XYZ, and then it doesn't go like how I thought it was gonna go. And then that makes me humble. It makes me like, okay, there's like lots of ways that this could go. And so because of that, it's taught me that I have to stay open. It's taught me that I have to take life seriously. Like I have to be, like, for example, impeccable with my word, impeccable with my intention, because things are not always what they are perceived to be. And also people are not always what they're perceived to be. Because I may think somebody is like one way, and then they actually turn out to be a whole nother way. And it may not be because of like, that's just their character, but it may just be because of a situation that they're in. And the same thing for me too, right? Like that, like someone may perceive me to be one way, and then depending on the situation, I'm actually like a whole nother way. And so I think humility and not knowing helps me to like stay flexible in my perspective on situations and how I communicate with other people. And let me see if Penelope has not put anything in the chat. And then Joey asked if everyone can put your email in the chat, please. Okay. I'm gonna pass it now.
Yes, Jazz.
Can you rephrase the question, please?
Yes. Okay. So how has your perspective allowed how has your perspective influenced the way you communicate with others? How has your perspective allowed you to be bendable in your communication?
Like reason with others, like that?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I have forgiven myself.
Maybe I would try to observe them first, like see if they're like paying attention or doing what they're supposed to. And yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Miss Joey.
How has my flexibility allowed me to cope or deal with others?
Yes.
Well, I you know what? I learned over the years, because of my nature is fire, right? My zodiac sign too. So I don't mean to be so eclectic, but what I do is I have to be silent and practice containment. And like Sister Ruth said, that everybody's different. They don't have the same upbringing as I do. And a lot of people have isms, and you really have to meet people where they at, because people may be coming from a different experience. They may have different people in their household. You don't know their economic status. You don't know what they went through to get there. And when they in front of my face, they may be giving me, some tough stuff, but they may be, really suffering and, going through something. So that's what I do is I, listen and I don't respond. I be attentive and be present to what they're saying and not take it personal. I'm complete. Michaela.
What was the question again? I'm so sorry.
The question was how has the flexibility of your perspective influenced the way you communicate with others?
How has the flexibility of the what? Say it again.
How has the flexibility of your perspective influenced the way you communicate with others?
I'm aggressive. The flexibility. So influences the way I communicate with others. It has, I guess, allowed me to communicate with others. Like,
because now I have social anxiety, but every time when I do try to talk to somebody, it comes out a little too aggressive. Like it scares them. But like has has the way you've been able to flexibly talk to people have gotten you your way or have made things easier? I believe what they're trying to say.
All right. And Miss Georgia?
the 3 meats.
Yeah, it's my sister. Give me a minute, please. She's ordering pizza.
Oh.
Hello?
Yeah, 3 meats. Can I get 1 pep?
We want to move on. Can we
go ahead, move on. Go ahead.
Okay. You want to double back. And so, but
You
yeah,
have Ebony.
I
You
want
have-
to thank, hey, yeah.
You have Ebony. You have
Oh, hi, Miss Ebony.
Hello. Hello.
Hey. So we were just discussing our we kind of went over the definition of what perspective was and how we have our own perspective. And so the question, this discussion question was, how has the flexibility of your perspective influenced the way you communicate with others?
I hope I answer this right, but to me, I'm very open-minded, so I listen and then I respond, and I would say that the response would depend on who I'm speaking to at the time and about what. So that's me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody for participating and answering the question.
You got Tawana.
Miss Tawana, you're here with us?
Yes, she had to take a call today.
Yes,
Okay.
I am here. Sorry, I'm here. I'm back.
No problem at all. We were just talking about perspective and flexibility and communication. And so we were answering the question of how has flexibility of your perspective influenced the way you communicate with others?
Thank you. That's a great question, and it's actually heavy. Who was the young lady that spoke right before me?
That was Miss Ebony.
That would be me.
Yes, I love the way you answered it, and I was right, like thinking of on your same level about basically knowing who you're speaking to at the time, and that's going to determine your flexibility. Because as an administrator, I know which teachers are soft, which teachers are medium, which teachers are hard, and you have to adjust to who they are and be intentional when you're speaking with them. So I love this question, and thanks for asking. And shout out to the young lady who answered before me. I didn't hear everyone else's responses. I'm sorry, I didn't hear anybody else's responses.
And I don't want to cut you off, Miss Tawana, but remember when we met at Southridge about my daughter Kimora, and I told you sometimes I would like for her teachers to get on her level because that's what she understands.
Yes.
That's why I say depending on who you're talking to.
That's funny. I was talking to your daughter today. How about her? I got to tell you about that story later. That was funny. She should have told you about a funny story that happened in school today.
She did.
With her book bag and her hair.
But no, I do want to thank everybody for participating in this question, because I think it's very important. And I think everybody kind of hinted on the same thing. It really depends on who we're in communication with. And I think Miss Ruth said, she said it beautifully as well. She said, it's humbling because all of us are very, very different. And if we take the time to kind of stop and really acknowledge the other person for their individuality, it will cause us to be flexible. Even if we're doing like Miss Early had mentioned earlier, and like giving them a reflection. I hear you, and this is basically what you're telling me. And so it does, so having flexibility within our own perspective, wanting to just to see our way does influence the way that we end up communicating with others. Because like I said, it helps develop a form of empathy that we have for each other. knowing that, you know, that we're able to, okay, see it from other person's perspective, see where they're coming from. So even though we may not always agree with what another person is saying, we can understand how they would have gotten there. And that makes finding resolutions to situations hopefully a little bit more easier. And so that leads us to our closing, and we basically it states that we are all a part of some sort of community, whether it be family, friends, or classmates. Our communities are full of people who have their own special individuality. This also means that we must be aware of the way people communicate and cope with things. Individuals and so that means individuals with unhealthy habits may not be safe to keep around, but it does not mean that we can't be understanding. So in order to protect our own mental health, we must pay attention to our physical health, be mindful of who we allow to occupy our time, our space, and our energy, and to remember to always practice good skills and self-regulation. And I hope what we all take away from this is that these skills and these tools of self-regulating and self-coping are not easy. When we talked about why it was hard to come down from being angry, or why was it difficult to come down from being upset, to let you know that it's not always easy to pull on these tools and pull on these skills that we have at our disposal. It comes with practice. It comes with practice. We are people. We are human. And so these things, even though we know them, are sometimes hard for us to, you know, kind of remember to tap in on, but we can tap in on them. And that just means that we need to have patience with others, but most of all, we need to have patience with ourselves, because we're not always going to get it right the first time. And we may need to kind of take that step back, breathe, and do something different. And I hope that's something that we've all taken away from one another, is that maybe a coping skill that we've never thought to try. We may want to try, and I hope that we was able to glean things off of one another to say, oh, I think I may want to try that. That might be something that I want to try next time. To learn from one another, because that comes with flexibility, especially within our own perspective, is learning from others. So we can add to our own repertoire and little tool bags of skills. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing, because that is the end of our PowerPoint. So let me quickly just stop sharing. And so I can look at all of you, and I can see the chat. I hope everybody have placed their emails in the for those that came in late. Place the emails. Oh, I hear one. Penelope has put, she said, my perspective allows me to treat certain people with more respect than others. People with certain values